Ladies and gentlemen, here is the fourth snapshot for Minecraft 1.18 called 21w40a with another round of tweaks to world generation, new biome names, mob spawning changes, and more. My name is SlySlime, as always at your service with the news on the snapshot. Let's dive in to world generation to begin with. The biome layout has been further tweaked in this snapshot. Biomes are now closer to the 1.17 state in their relative sizes to one another. This means, for instance, that if a swamp was generally smaller than a plains biome in 1.17, that ratio will now be more similar in 1.18 as well. In addition, the average size of most biomes has been increased. Of course, this means that all the biomes have moved around, so don't expect snapshot worlds to look the same. Another change to biome layout is that non-cave biomes are now laid out in 2D, so as you go up or down in elevation, the only change you will see to the biome is if you enter or leave a cave biome. This fixes a number of issues relating to things like grass and leaf colors changing with height, and also has reduced the amount of microbiomes. A bunch of biomes have been renamed. Stone Shore is now called Stony Shore. Jungle Edge is now called Sparse Jungle. Snowy Tundra is now called Snowy Plains. Giant Tree Taiga has been renamed to Old Growth Pine Taiga. And in the similar vein, Giant Spruce Taiga is now Old Growth Spruce Taiga, and Tall Birch Forest is now Old Growth Birch Forest. The Old Mountains biome is now called Windswept Hills. Wooded Mountains has turned into Windswept Forest, and Gravelly Mountains into Windswept Gravelly Hills. Shattered Savanna is now Windswept Savanna. Wooded Badlands Plateau is now simply called Wooded Badlands, and finally a few of the new mountain biomes have also been renamed. Snow-capped Peaks is now Frozen Peaks, and Lofty Peaks is now Jagged Peaks. In addition to all the renames, a bunch of biomes that were now the same as other biomes have been removed. This applies to many of the hills and edge-type biomes that only differed in their setup with regards to terrain shape. Villages are now slightly more spread out than before, and water lake features no longer generate. They've been removed since surface aquifers now provide local areas of water instead. A couple of feature-related fixes have also been done to fix the enormous amount of sweet berries generating in taigas, and the far too sparse blue orchids in swamps. If we turn our attention underground, there are more world generation changes to be had. The amount of dungeons have been increased, with them especially being more prevalent below height 0. Blobs of gravel now also generate below height 0. The frequency of underwater magma has been increased, and some aquifer-related issues have been fixed. As a side effect of this, expect aquifers to have moved around compared to the previous snapshot. A few fixes to cave vines have also been done. Cave vines would generate without their tip if they generated in tight spaces, and they'd also generate down into water. Both those bugs have been fixed in this snapshot. Finally, the random pattern of the bedrock layer near the bottom of the world and the top of the nether are now dependent on the world's seed. That pattern used to be the same for the same position in every world. This snapshot also brings even more tweaks to the ore distribution. The purpose of this round of tweaking is to make branch mining deep down in the world more rewarding. There are more diamonds to be found from height 16 and down. The lower you go, the more you'll find. All the diamonds added in this snapshot compared to the previous one are hidden, and the blob size is somewhere between the large and small types from before. Iron in mountains can now be found lower down, starting to generate at height 80, with more iron generating the higher you go. This distribution of iron previously started at height 112. Copper now also generates over a wider span from -16 to 112, which used to be 0 to 95. A new, extra uniform distribution of gold can now also be found in the lowest reaches of the world below height -48. And emerald ore can now generate lower in the world down to -16. Previously, emerald could only generate from height +32. More emerald also generates in total. And that's it for the ore distribution changes. Let's move on to blocks and items, but stay with the topic of ores and a change to copper ore. The drop rate of raw copper from copper ore has been increased. The default drop is now between 2 and 5 items, up from between 2 and 3. In addition to this, a change has been made to all the stonecutter recipes, where cutting 1 block of copper in the stonecutter now yields 4 cut copper blocks. Before we move on to mob changes, let me ask you to please take a moment to give that like button a whack. It helps YouTube show this video to more viewers, so I would really appreciate that. Thank you. Now let's talk about mob changes. To begin with, the previous snapshot introduced a bug where mobs would headbang if you held an item they liked. That bug has been fixed in this version. In addition to this, there are a number of mob spawning changes in this version. Axolotls now only spawn in water and above clay blocks in lush caves. Glow squids now only spawn in water blocks under height 30. Aquatic creature spawning has changed too, with cod, salmon, pufferfish, tropical fish, squid and dolphins now only spawning in water between heights 50 and 64, with the exception of tropical fish that now also spawn at any height in lush caves. In the previous snapshot, the drip zone caves were changed to no longer spawn zombies, but instead spawn drowned. A part of this change has been removed, but not all of it. Drowned can still spawn in aquifers in drip zone caves, but zombies can once again spawn in drip zone caves as well. Finally, goats no longer spawn in stony peaks. An update to an advancement in this snapshot as well. The old biomes that didn't generate anymore, which I previously mentioned had been removed, are no longer required for the adventuring time advancement. For visual changes in this version, a couple of bug fixes. Banners without any patterns now once again render properly, and the treasure maps once again have their water outline. In performance and stability news, a number of fixes to improve stability have been done, including a fix for random chunks being regenerated when opening a world from Minecraft 1.12.2 or earlier. In addition, optimizations have been done to reduce the performance impact of having large amounts of axolotls, goats, hoglins, zoglins, piglins, piglin brutes, or villagers. And that's that for 21w40a. Thank you to you top-notch viewers who stayed through the entire video, I appreciate it. And if you like this video, I encourage you to try another one of my videos, like this one.